Have you ever felt like you were being led on by a narcissist, only to be left confused and frustrated? I want to talk to you today about a concept called breadcrumbing, the manipulation tactic that narcissists oftentimes excel at, that is just leading you on step by step, piece by piece, moving you forward into an emotionally toxic, manipulative, controlling relationship. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness of narcissistic abuse. I help break people free from trauma bonds, from the rumination, from the intrusive thoughts by showing them how the narcissist thinks, and then also showing them the steps to ultimately be free from not having to rely on anyone else, but being able to have the tools and the options to be able to move forward in their healing and growth and development without having that toxic person in their life anymore. We work on giving you clarity, helping you move forward in that healing process. If you want to know more about that, you can go to claritychallenge.net to see our 45-day process that we walk people through step by step to find the healing that you desperately deserve. So when we talk through this aspect of breadcrumbing, I need you to understand, I want you to think of trying to catch a mouse. Recently, we actually had a small field mouse in our house. It was something that, because of rain, because of a bunch of stuff, there's this one mouse that somehow got into the garage, and every once in a while I leave the garage door open, going back and forth inside the house, got in the house. Didn't notice it till it started eating the wife's flour, okay? And we started seeing little mouse poop droppings all over the place, okay? Now, with this, the idea of breadcrumbing would be like trying to lead a mouse to a trap. We tried multiple times, looked, and the internet was like, don't use cheese, use peanut butter, use all that. Yeah, don't believe the internet, okay? You just use cheese. Cheese worked great. But you had to get to the place where it actually led it to a place that we could capture it and get rid of it. Now, the hard piece with this is narcissists do the same things to you. They do the same thing to you of leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, or for us, leaving a trail of cheese to be able to catch the mouse. They're doing the same thing to you. Like a narcissist is breadcrumbing, giving you tiny little morsels of bread that keep you walking forward, thinking, oh, this is going to turn out, and then they catch you, okay? And then you're stuck. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So when we talk through this aspect of breadcrumbing, and narcissists excel at it, first thing I want to point out of the 4 points that we have today, number one is false hopes. This is the art of breadcrumbing, is giving you false hopes. The idea of maybe this will happen, giving you hope of this potential and thinking that this is going to happen just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to truly satisfy your needs. So think of it this way. In the affair aspect, I would always give enough of a hope to the other person that something was going to happen down the road. I was going to leave my wife. She was going to leave me. We were going to get divorced, and I would be with that person. And it was also breadcrumbing. It was the idea of well, this will happen, not yet. There's many of you that have been with a narcissist and they've been doing the same thing. I'm going to change. I'm going to get better. I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to go do all these things for you, but it never happens. Okay, because all it is it's a manipulative strategy where the narcissist uses this for giving you occasional attention, affection, promises, just enough to keep you hanging on. It's like dangling hope, putting the carrot in front of a donkey, hope, dragging you forward of having a fulfilling relationship or a future, but never fully committing to it, never actually showing up in a way with true depth, with true commitment, with true honesty about what's actually going on. What it does, it leaves you perpetually waiting for something that never materializes. How many of you watching this would be like, yes, I have been waiting for a long period of time for something to change? Type in waiting into the chat, because I want other people to see you're not the only one. It's okay. You're not the only one that's been waiting for such a long period of time. You've been in a place where you've been dating or interacting with this man for a while who showers you with affection, attention, sweet words, and then it's every once in a while. And just when you start to believe that there's a future together, he disappears, becomes distant. I got caught up at work for 2 days, for a week, and all of a sudden there's this huge disconnection. You're like, I don't know what's actually true. The intermittent attention keeps you in a place where you're emotionally invested and you're hopeful. It's giving you crumbs. It's giving you pieces that make you think something's going to happen. Okay, now moving into number two, the confusion and anxiety of this emotional roller coaster, leading you to a roller coaster of emotions, of feelings, mainly drawing you to a place where you are confused and anxious. You have to understand a narcissist can leave you in a place of fog, of confusion, of not understanding what's going on, and that's okay for them. They don't mind if you're stuck in the fog, because stuck in the fog means you're immovable. It means you're not going to make a move unless you actually see clearly. If you don't see clearly, the narcissist knows, I got her. So it doesn't really matter. She's still going to be stuck. She's still going to say, and this is why a lot of times narcissists don't think that you're ever going to leave, because you don't have the clarity to figure it out. So you stay. Being breadcrumbed by a narcissist leads to this emotional turmoil. Like the intermittent nature of attention, of affection keeps you on this high, this like roller coaster of like, it's great, it's amazing, and then disappears. When they disappear, when they pull away, when they pull back. Okay, so like think of it, we run into this a lot of times with long distance. Okay, maybe you're in a long distance relationship with a narcissistic partner. And whenever they start to question the relationship, and whenever you're like, I don't know what's going on, he sends heartfelt messages. He makes a brief appearance. He reignites the hope of like, oh, this is going to work out. This is amazing. Some of you don't realize that a lot of times narcissists can sense this. Call it like a sixth sense or something like that, where the narcissist actually feels it, of like they can tell that you're pulling away. And then they pop into your life at the right moment. This is why so many of you have been like, I thought I was doing good. I was like healing. I was moving on. And it's like every time when he knows that I'm doing well, he comes back in and pulls me back. That's because a lot of times he knows the cycle. He knows the feeling. He knows, I haven't heard as much from this person. Their texts have been shorter. They haven't communicated as much. Let me re-engage just to keep them on the line. This brief piece that might happen in the relationship is all meant to reignite hope. The cycle of the highs and lows takes its toll on you, keeping you stuck and keeping you coming back and keeping you thinking that something's there when it's actually not. So part of this piece is getting in the place of like starting to recognize it and understand it. Like, are you being led on today? Is the person that you're with, are they giving you these promises? Are they giving these ideas that's not actually coming to fruition? So many times narcissists will give you this false hope, this false idea of promising change, of promising a future together, and it leaves you confused and it leaves you frustrated. One of the other things I want to bring up is the future faking. Future faking of promising this future that's down the road that they don't actually mean and they don't actually have any intention of fulfilling, and there's no plan or steps to move in that direction. So like you might be in the relationship and he's been saying for the longest time, we're going to get married. We're going to get married. I promise we'll get there. I'm not ready here. We're going to have kids. I'm not ready here. We're going to get this house. I'm not ready here. I'm going to commit. I'm not ready here. And all of a sudden you start realizing that the future that's been promised you for so many years still isn't here. Let's just stop for a moment and sit with this. I know you might not want to sit with this, but I feel like you might need to right now, today. You might need to sit with it and take out a pen and paper and start writing out what are the things that he promised me that aren't here, that aren't true. And as you go through a list of the promises and the things that he said he was going to change or modify or do or follow through, I need you to see how they haven't happened, how they haven't been a piece of your life, but they've only been used to get away from the reality that he's been lying to you this whole time. This is a hard piece to come to terms with, so I'm slowing down for a moment just to have you understand the reality and the gravity of this if you do not come to terms with this. You will continue to tell yourself a different story. You will continue to tell yourself a different idea that he cares when he hasn't demonstrated this at all. This is the only way to be free. Is to start dealing with the facts of the situation. To start educating yourself of what is actually true. Of starting to see all of the hope and the potential and the things that he said to you over and over and over again and how they haven't come to fruition. This is how I kept my wife stuck in the toxic relationship for a long period of time. You need to hear this. By telling her multiple times, I would change. By getting into counseling, by getting into therapy, by saying I'm going to do all these things. And you know what? Nothing changed. It was just more manipulation, more lies, more things to avoid the present discomfort of being called out. Narcissists oftentimes will breadcrumb you and future fake you and show all this stuff down the road when they're getting called out for stuff that they don't want to admit. This is what narcissists do. leading you on with hope and potential, breadcrumbing you to make you think that there is a better reality out there with this person when there is not, because they are not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to be honest. They're not willing to show up in a positive way. So it just keeps happening over and over and over again. I want you to get really real about this today and sit down and write this down. What are all the promises that he made? How many did he actually come through? Actually come through with. Not the ones that you did to be able to get what you need to get or do what you need to do, but the ones that he actually set and actually came through. Because what you'll notice is the person in your life is probably a liar and is probably incongruent with the words that he says. This is the baseline of narcissism. A liar. Someone who's lying to you, someone's lying to himself, someone's lying to everybody in their life and unwilling to see and acknowledge the truth. If you're with someone today, narcissist or not, and they are a liar, and they will not acknowledge that they're a liar, and they will not acknowledge the truth and the facts of the situation, you do not have a relationship, and you need to leave. No amount of love is going to make a liar stop being a liar. They have to come to terms with that. They have to come to terms with the fact that their reality is not real. They have to come to terms with the facts of the situation. And if they're not willing to do that, they don't care about you. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about the kids. They don't care about anything except for their image. And they're willing to sacrifice anybody on that image so they can still appear good to other people. Narcissists lead you on consistently with breadcrumbing, giving you these false nuggets of hope, thinking that if you just stick around a little bit longer, the future that they've promised will be there, when in reality, it will not. Because breadcrumbing is just immediate avoidance of the current present moment to get you to continue moving forward in what they want and continue to control you. I want you to be free. If you need help with this, reach out. You can go to rawmotivation.com to talk to me, to see what would be a good fit in moving forward and helping you break free of the trauma bond and the breadcrumbing that keeps pulling you back to the toxic person.